See brown in your face.
Have you heard of Everything at Once?
Do you know about Everything at Once?
It's internationally known.
Aliens listen to it.
It's the best ever.
If there's something you're looking for in the 814, or feeling a little bored and think there ain't no more, check out Everything at Once and allow it to be your source. It's that raw podcast that's always showing support, highlighting the scene. No need to take I-90 to Peep or 79 to see how it be. Interviewing your locals with mindsets that are global. Innovators and creators on every single upload. So much going on in the EPA.
Incredible content.
Everything at Once will keep you up to date.
Amazing guests.
What you doing? Come through and hang with Tony and Dave.
Community driven.
Bringing everything at once from around the way. Everything at once from around the way. Hey.
Please listen. We love you. Everything at Once.
Everything at Once.
It's time to introduce this show.
The best show on the face of the planet.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in today. We want to thank our Patreon producers, Brian G., Josh W., Ian D., Nick G., and Sadie M.
Patreon, it's an awesome way to support the show and say thanks. You can become a Patreon supporter by clicking the link below and choosing to be an intern, assistant, or producer level supporter.
If being on the production team is too much pressure for you, you can also send any contributions using our Venmo at Everything at Once Studios. We now want to thank all the local businesses who supported this episode. These businesses get the Everything at Once stamp of approval and are critical members of the Everything at Once community. We couldn't do it without them. With winter approaching, are there any last minute details that you want to change or renovate around your home?
I might, but you know who to call.
Yeah, Ghostbusters!
No, Tony. No, not Ghostbusters. Solid State Construction.
Oh, yeah. Solid State.
Yeah.
Duh. Solid State takes pride in all their home remodeling projects. Solid State specializes in bathroom remodeling, kitchen renovation, window and door installation, custom design work, and more, including painting, flooring, drywall, sidewalk, decks. Get your free quote today by calling Nick at 814-397-7854. Solid people, solid product, Solid State Construction.
You know, Tony, with all these renovations from Solid State, I think we might have kicked up some bad energy around here. Yeah, oh yeah. Luckily, we know just the people to go see.
I know it this time. It's Ghostbusters.
No, Tony! Our friends at Cauldron and Thorn.
Wow. I feel really dumb right now, and I can't believe I didn't think of Cauldron and Thorn, the world's largest witchcraft and metaphysical shop, with everything a person needs to channel the spirit world.
Practice some self-care.
Find enlightenment.
Curse your enemies.
Protect yourself from your enemies.
Bless your friends.
Cleanse your space from negative energies. You can check out all the magical wares available at for these different practices we all love and enjoy at Cauldron and Thorn, 2724 West 8th Street, or online at cauldronandthorn.com.
This week, we have an incredible guest for you.
Hell yeah. Logan Batten, thank you for coming down to Everything at Once Studios to hang out with me and Dave for a little bit. Let us pick your mind, talk about some music, talk about some tunes, talk about you.
Hey, fellas.
So
it's good to be here.
We've completely isolated you and barricaded you off from all outside interactions via the concrete in this house. So we have your complete and undivided attention.
It's our plan. We do it every time.
Every time somebody comes in here. We're super pumped you're here, though. How you doing?
I'm good. Like I was saying on my way in here, I'm thinking about the year winding to a close and the trajectory of my life and how it's improved. And
you got a New Year's resolution?
It really should be to have more fun, honestly. It's my girlfriend was telling me this on the way over here to make sure I had fun here. And
she's been a guest on the show before.
Yeah.
Shelby from Spades, you're also in that band as well, along with your own solo Logan B and the Dirty Leaf, right?
Yeah, Dirty Leaf was a group I started with some of my high school friends and a guy who's currently in Spades again, Kevin Kodum. He plays in Royak as well. He was like, we played high school football together and stuff at Maplewood, down where I'm from. He's played music longer than me. He's super talented, a year older than me in school.
Do you think that each one of those bands is almost a super group because they share so many members and they're all coming together to make any particular arrangement of Royak, Spades, Dirty Leaf, Matt Craze? They're like each their own kind of super group because they're all these different conglomerates of bands. Like you would think of a super group like if
Like the Traveling Wilburys, for example.
right.
Love the Wilburys.
What do you think? Yeah, super
I
group.
think I have slid into a few different things in 2023 outside of my regular thing that are not my norm that have got some good things too. We both know Matt Craze. I'm playing
for
keyboards
sure.
with him too. I've been playing in this alt country kind of group, Northbound Soul. It's kind of based out of Fairview too. We
Fun.
played at some of the local festivals this year. That album's on Spotify. I'm trying to think what the question was.
If any conglomeration of
but you're talking about super groups. I think I've slid into working with a good group of people, and I'm like Erie has a cool scene that I've seen from afar for a few years, and I'm more a part of now and situated, and it's cool. I've like places like PACA, and since I've been around and where I'm playing this Friday, the Kings Rock Club. This will be my first time performing downstairs. That's like one of the best. It's like the best club in terms of like for miles in terms of the like what I think of as the tri-state scene where I'm trying to take my music. Cleveland, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. That's like my concern right now. Obviously Erie, but like I'm trying to work a 9 to 5 and then do what they would say is a weekend warrior thing and hustle from close spot Friday to further, right? Like Cleveland, Columbus, like middle of the state to Philly or whatever, Chicago.
Yeah, Rochester, Albany.
So, and then have everybody be able to get back, something like that.
Hell yeah.
It's wild to me, like, and we've had multiple musicians. We've had multiple musicians on since we've started this show, and it just blows my mind how you can be in so many different bands and have the time to do it.
Right. For your goal, you were mentioning your resolution is to have more fun. Is playing more music part of having more fun, or does that work?
It's definitely a balance, especially a lot of it's like the part of it's just working the 9 to 5 and having the hours with the sleep. It'd be one thing if I was like,
just
a lot of my friends teach too. I don't, in terms of like me as a musician, I'm not like uber skilled on an instrument to teach. Mm-hmm. So that's not super like, and I'm primarily like a songwriter. I'm doing some like side, like other music thing parts as of late. Mm-hmm. But in terms of, I guess what I was just saying anyway is that avenue's not part of it. So in terms of fun, I'm trying to think with how it's situated now, right? Like, I need to get my music on the internet and Spotify and all that, right? But like having, this isn't a thing to go right to, but the work, so much of it is like work at this point. Like I'm glad I love it. Like I'm longing for the chance to do that drive thing and like wind up in Rochester and like slug it with
whoever,
a handful of people probably.
Sure.
But that's definitely not fun. But it's the chance to have it's the most valuable thing I have as a human, though. Like in terms of like work itself, like as it translates to the real world. I just like.
It's all
not
about
piss away my other 35, 40 hours as I'm about to get a real job, but I'm just really just need to. That's the not fun part. A lot of it for me is just
managing the time.
Yeah, and not in transitioning essentially, especially with that drive I was talking about. That's like makes me want to just like get home and hit the couch and not be productive. I leaned away from the mic.
No, you're good, dude. Don't worry about it.
I'm a podcast fan. I don't want to have bad etiquette. I'm a big comedy fan too, so I like listen to.
One that I listen to all the time is Tim Dillon, dude. I think he's fucking hilarious.
I love him. I've seen him live a few times. I'm a big fan of him.
Did you see him in Pittsburgh recently? He was in there.
I saw him at
November.
the Music Hall.
Yeah.
I've seen him at Hilarities.
We saw him at the Comedy Mothership in Austin when we went down there.
That's great.
Oh, dude,
Wow.
It was so fucking cool. It was a surprise too because we weren't planning to see him. We were going to see a bunch of local comics, and they're like, we're canceling the show. We have a big guest coming in. We're like, oh fuck. Well, who's this big guest? And it was Tim Dillon. And
That's the way it's going to work there for the future. Wow.
Yeah, dude, it was incredible. I'm a big podcast fan myself, though.
I like
too.
Me too.
Sam Morril, Mark Normand one a lot too.
Yeah, I like Mike and Shane's secret podcast too.
Matt and
Shane's, yeah.
You ever listen to Bad Friends?
Yeah,
I love
all
that
those,
one.
man. That's a good thing we're interacting right now because that sort of comedy circle is the same as a lot of the stuff that I listen to. I was with the Spotify rap thing going around. I was thinking about that, and it's like a lot of it for me at work is like really to make a. I have like a concrete thing that I'm sort of into doing at work. I pass time and want to take in new music by artists that I like. So
Sure.
I'm going to skip, for example, Rocket Man, but I'm definitely going through Elton John. I'm going. Not that it's bad about Rocket Man.
No,
but
I
I want to
understand.
know I want to know the ones that are
Unknown, the album
Yeah.
stuff. I feel like a lot of times that's usually the good stuff anyway.
that song Country Comfort. I
Wow.
play all the time. It's on that Tumbleweed Deluxe or whatever that album is. Has the steel guitar on that and all that shit. Shout out to Adam McKillop from Smile Album.
Hell yeah.
He's great at that.
He crushes it, dude. All those guys are really good. And
I can't wait to hear that album.
oh, dude,
Pal Dave's on
sick.
that album.
Tyler's been sending me all sorts of stuff about it and having me look at different things for him.
I'm
And
a huge fan of his music.
yeah, dude, going out to Suma Recording Studio was like a big fucking eye-opening experience too. I'm like really excited. I want to get. I'm hopefully getting like a mixer for Christmas, like a bigger mixer than the one I have now, so we can do a little bit more recording. Matt Craze and my buddy Brian, and my other buddy Brian too. I got two Brians.
Before you buy new stuff, you probably want some modern cool stuff, but I have some stuff. I have mixers lying around.
Yeah, this one's a audio interface / mixer /
You want-
everything.
Yeah, you want like something modern with like MIDI and like cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mixer's a broad term, I suppose. So just when I was thinking about that, I was like,
Yeah. This one's just primarily going to be like my new deck for recording shit because I want to get some more. I just want to do some more of that and get better at it too. So any of the musicians, Logan, Matt, any of you guys want to come down here and fuck around for a day and record a song, I'm super down with that. Although I'm going to be super busy, so we'll have to work it out though. But I want to start recording more music and. Now that I'll have like the big equipment, because some of the stuff down here is really nice, but it's also somewhat restrictive right now as far as the abilities to do stuff. Like this mixer only has playback through the mixer itself. I can't run it through my computer, and I can't play stuff off my computer through this mixer. It's only a one way, but this new one will have two ways, so I'll be able to play drum tracks and then record guitar and all that stuff. So it's gonna be exciting. Lots of growth and change and progress around here.
variability on little stuff like that is huge in terms of being able to do stuff. I was thinking about with that mixture you were using for the treehouse and.
Oh yeah,
What-
that's basically what this mixer that we're recording this podcast is going to be like primarily dedicated to is things that I use my camera with. So like outside recordings like the treehouse, or if I'm recording an event or anything else that I'm taking video footage. So that way I can use these good mics and get like really high quality audio. Well, these mics or other mics that I have to get good quality audio because the preamps on my camera fucking suck. They buzz like crazy and like whistle or whisper or whatever you want to call it.
Wisp.
And yeah, and now I'll be able to catch some really good audio for those kinds of things, which is very exciting. It's going to help us out a lot in this movie too that we're making this spring. We're putting together a short film. It's going to be awesome, dude. But this isn't about us. This isn't
That's
about
cool.
Everything at Once Studios.
That's cool that I saw you were still casting for that. I saw a post about that recently.
Yeah, everything's pretty much full. We got one more male audition, and then we're going to determine who gets what roles for the males, and a lot of them are already cast, and it's going to be really exciting, dude.
Well,
We've
we're
never
gonna
done
have a
anything
great
like
time.
this.
It'll be awesome.
Part of my transition towards music, honestly, was I was actually a big athlete, and even I guess if we're talking about my musical trajectory, my mom was big into singing when she was younger, and I don't know, as a semi-young son of divorced parents, she took us to some concerts, and like, I mean, a lot of it was country, but it was like, I saw the Dixie Chicks with Charlie Daniels.
Oh, cool.
I mean,
Did you play Devil Went Down in Georgia?
I was super young. I can't remember. But you would think, yeah. I'm trying to think. She was big into Rascal Flatts and stuff, obviously, but country music, and I'm trying to think. I don't know what made me think about it as a kid. Even when I was,
You're thinking about how you're getting into music.
I took like guitar lessons that didn't take, and the teacher like went to Florida or something. But I did it for a little bit, and it wasn't that much. And then I took even this was still when I was a kid. We went through with like having me take a little piano lesson that was in Townville, where I was talking about, with a teacher right by the Red and White General Store there, and it was kind of a thing, but it didn't really take. And when I was later on after that, when I was in like high school, I was super into sports. I was trying to think. I lettered all 4 years in football, 4 years in basketball, and then I played volleyball a lot too at Maplewood, and I actually quit volleyball to pursue football. So I went to Washington and Jefferson College, and I ended up quitting, but I was like super thinking of like playing football, and I thought I'd be like an athletic director and a football coach, and like a high school teacher or something.
Yeah, that's not a bad gig.
Yeah, it's not a bad gig. That's like, I mean, that's in an alternate universe. That's
right.
Like definitely me. I got bonked in the head a few times. A few of them were football related. One time when I was like snow tubing though, at like the Edinburgh one, Mount Pleasant, one of those, like I
Took a bad blow to the head.
I went down before my dad, and he straight bounced up off something and clean knocked me out. And I woke up. We were like I was knocked out.
Yeah.
Like for a stretch. This was before I even played football though. But anyway, I went to college to play not to do it, but I was really thinking about it hard. I was like doing like visits at Mercyhurst and talking about state schools and stuff too. I ended up going to Washington and Jefferson College, which is in Washington, PA. They have a super good football program.
Right.
They're D3 though, but they've like, I don't know, they like won their conference a bunch. And Roger, I mean, I don't know why it's related, but Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, went to Washington and Jefferson.
I did know that. That's an interesting little tidbit.
When I played at Washington and Jefferson, my coach was Mike Sirianni, who's Nick's brother.
Yeah, Philadelphia Eagles coach.
Well, his brother was the guy who I played for. At the time, the guy who's the Eagles coach now worked for the Chargers. This was in 2014 when I was playing college football, and I quit in the middle of the year because I couldn't. I had a weird setup. I didn't have a football player roommate, and I got weirdly isolated.
Okay.
And especially from the like Maplewood to W&J, a lot of it was like Pittsburgh or like Buffalo or Rochester, like kids who like had to like
travel.
Well, travel, yeah, but they were like kids who like almost were going to go to like really good schools, but like didn't, and ended up just like going to W&J, which is a good school, liberal arts school, and it's like has like a good law program and stuff. I was going for English, I think.
How did the music fit into this whole thing?
Well, to what I was saying, I forget what we were talking about. We were talking about your movie, and I quit volleyball to, well, it was supposed to be to lift weights and like pursue football. And then I ended up my senior year, I guess even before I quit volleyball though, my senior year I was in theater arts, and I was in both of the productions in the spring and the fall.
Oh, cool.
There were like comedies. One was a medieval one, and I played, weirdly it was medieval, but I played a UPS guy that was like a wall breaking person,
yeah,
and
okay.
We did Flat Stanley at the Meadville Academy Theater.
Were they musicals?
Yeah,
You had to sing? Cool.
the second one I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So I mean, I guess that was sort of all that, and then like just
That was like the entryway into the music.
something like that, and then I guess some of it was just like the hanging out in the crowd and the different people, I suppose, with related to that, and then that leads into taking in music in a different way as a teenager as opposed to a child. And my first thing was grunge, actually.
Okay.
It was like Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam and stuff like that. I was really into like Mother Love Bone. And I mean, a group I really love is called Mad Season, which is Lane Staley from Alice in Chains and Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. They put it in
Supergroup.
Yeah, Supergroup, like we were talking about earlier. It's sort of they have an album called Above that's great. That's like kind of bluesy, and I mean, grunge ends up ultimately not my bag in that a lot of it's like distorted and heavier. But like what I really loved was some of that grunge, not just the unplugged stuff, but like the Alice in Chains Sap album and a lot of Pearl Jam stuff. I mean, Pearl Jam goes like pretty raunchy for me. I still love them either way, but it's like in terms of like my choice as it comes down to whatever.
Sure.
It's more as in the Grateful Dead realm as what we were talking about. I don't know. I don't try to sound like anything. I don't think that's a particularly great method, but
no, I mean, that's good. I think that's super important, especially, like, I've been listening to the new Andre 3000 CD. Like,
that is amazing.
Right. Because that's, like, to me, that is so important and a special CD or a special album, whatever the fuck they're called anymore, because I feel like that is just Andre 3000 being Andre 3000 to the 10,000th degree. You know what I mean? It's all him. He's not trying to make shit to sell records or to get people dancing on the dance floor. He's just doing it because he loves playing his flute with a bunch of weird fucking distortions and sounds behind it.
That ties very much into this thing that I just shared today, that is Rick Rubin saying this thing about how like a lot of the truly greatest art is irrespective of the audience. It's like, if it's not therapeutic, it's just like straight vision and like a like a recreation of what someone wants, and not a catering to
the audience. Yeah, I think I saw that clip.
That's a weird line, though.
This doesn't matter. Like, the audience does not matter, and I think that's really true in a lot of the art and a lot of the media that I consume. I really recognize and appreciate when people are just like, you know what, fuck you guys, I'm doing what I want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's just so hard to measure in terms of like, I mean, just guess that just depends on like what's normal and conventional. Or something right. At that point, I don't even know what you're just that's just someone's opinion.
No, for sure.
Each to person to person. I don't know.
You have to definitely be. Well, you don't have to, but it definitely helps to be a wildly successful artist already, to just go and switch up everything you do. Like, you've made your money, you know.
Yeah, you got like, that fuck you money. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, there's not like the risk, like if Andre 3000 if it was like 1994 and instead of making like Southern Playalistic Cadillac funky music, he's like, I'm going to play the flute. You know, like, it might not have worked out. It might have been really cool, but it might not have worked out as well.
Exactly. He might be still stuck back in... he might be in a very different position today if he opened up with the weird flute shit versus Sorry Miss Jackson and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's also a really funny video of Andre 3000, like, it's Keenan and Peele, Andre 3000 and Big Boy, like, talking to each other. Big Boy's like, what the fuck happened to you, man? What is wrong with you? We used to be something. And he's like, nah, dude, I'm making flute shit now.
He in one of those videos, he said, I don't know what I would rap about. I'm trying to summarize what he said.
Yeah.
But he's like, or it was something like that. And so I appreciate that in terms of
being honest. Yeah.
Identity too, as a way of going through the world of being. I mean, that must stink. Especially, you see a lot of rap. I mean, I like hip hop. I can't say I'm like an aficionado by any chance, but like the past, like, I mean, it doesn't age well in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Not to say it and other it, but in terms of like
no, there's certain stuff that definitely does not age well, for sure. There's tons of rap, and hip hop has always been problematic in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people, from women to black people to whoever, you know what I mean, is getting marginalized and stereotyped throughout a lot of hip hop. And looking back on certain things would not be, as accepted or as okay today as they were in the past, for sure.
I'm definitely a fan of hip hop. I mean, one of the greatest shows I've ever seen in my life was Chance the Rapper at the Altar House.
Oh, cool.
I think it was the Altar Bar
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
It's a great show. Just it was electric with a live band.
Oh, hell yeah. I think that's really cool too when you when a band or a rapper, anybody that you kind of think of as not really an instrumental type of music has like a live band perform it, because like for me personally, I think that adds like a whole another level to the music when I can actually like see the vibrations and the waves being created by the different instruments that are being played up there versus playing it over like a drum track or whatever track it is and having a MIDI controller that you push buttons on that plays the different lines, you know?
Although you can't put a premium on like just a sick ass DJ.
Oh,
like
no, dude.
Like that's a musician in itself.
For sure.
That's about the only time I'd say where like that substitutes for it. If you got just a dope DJ fucking spinning while you're rapping, like that has an equal effect to me.
Right. No, because that's like, it's adding the extra layer, dude. It's giving the ambiance or the energy of more than just one person, you know what I mean? Like one person individually can be very powerful and is very good in certain situations, but sometimes it's nice to have like layers to that shit.
Especially how that works with the origins of it too, because a lot of the first great hip hop contains so much other great American music that is literally like what they would call it the breaks in the tune, where there's just an instrumental section where you can tie up that thing from drum beat to drum beat and do it on your own. And
yeah, I can't remember who it was, but Celinda was showing me a video the other day of a rapper that is going out and performing or touring right now with like a symphony, and it's got like all the strings and all the horns that you hear in like these really well produced rap beats, and I'm just like, oh my god, like this is and to me that's so like it's starting with Andre 3000, I think. Well, maybe not starting with him, but I love to see people getting exposed to new types of shit, because I feel like so many people probably listen to that Andre 3000 CD and were like, that are like normal Outkast fans or whatever, and now they're completely exposed to shit they didn't even like realize exist or realize that they could enjoy or like in a different way other than, you know, normal Outkast type shit.
Yeah, I feel like it splits both ways, because like, you know, you get the people like, oh my god, this is so cool, and then you get the people who are like
what the fuck is he doing with this flute?
The Dylan Goes Electric type people. They're like, this isn't fucking folk acoustic music anymore. Boo this man off the stage. I don't know. It's just interesting. I love like how the art can expand, and like you were talking about the Grateful Dead, how much you love them. They've almost killed any other type of live music for me, because I'm like, yeah, I want you to go on stage and go on like an improv riff for like 10 minutes and play the same song differently every single time I see it, you know. So I see a band that just goes up and plays their song like a big band, and I'm just like, oh, that's it. Like,
yeah. How much of your music is improv when you guys perform?
Right now it's improv more than I'd like, because with the horns and everything of late since the spring, we and as it is down with, or as it comes down to it with scheduling, and just the fact that it differs, right? Like my band can be just the 3 or the 4 of us. We could do like an organ trio, or it goes all the way to like when we played at Altered State on the 6th, we had
horns and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, there's Larry Kaplinger on trumpet, Larry Wheaton on trombone, Ken Tate on sax. We've been working on that since like the fall-ish, and that made its real debut all together at Altered State on the 6th. And my friend Henry plays harmonica too, so it right now a lot of it's improvised because it's such a big band, and there's a lot of interchanging parts.
Sure.
It's sort of easy. A lot of it's easy to jam to because it's pretty simple, and Henry I've known for a while anyway, and it changes a lot, so it's pretty improvisatory. We would say too much, and I would say too much, even though like a group I love, like Wolfpack, will literally just be like, to the chorus, to do.
Yeah. No, Disco Biscuits do stuff like that all the time too.
Totally.
And they'll play
just
back and
a
forth.
huge tour.
Yeah.
They do that crazy thing too, where they like pioneered the Jamtronica thing, where they'll hook it all up to Ableton with some MIDI stuff, and they'll all have in-ears in, and
right. Same with like STS9 and stuff.
What you could do with my band too is like have like a talkback mic, where I would just be like,
yeah, because you see that.
We're singing the song, and then go, or in the middle of the jam, go to a different
the other mic. I love it when I see that.
All right, you take the solo here and go.
Yeah.
People will.
Right.
People don't like that, but it depends on what you're doing. And
no, I think it's cool, and I like to see that when it's going on live in front of me, because they're like producing an original thing. You know what I mean? It's giving you that unique consumer experience, and I like when I notice that like they're over, they might be over to the side talking like into another mic, and you can't hear anything through the vocals or anything, but they're communicating with one another, like back and forth, like, okay, let's switch to the chorus of this song, or like, you know what I mean, that guitar solo from that song, and kind of mesh it all together.
Definitely.
Or you get the classic like playing the guitar or whatever, and just turn around and they're talking to like the drummer or whoever, like
or whatever they're doing.
Well, maybe not but I've seen it. I'm not a musician, so
Definitely.
I can't. Maybe sometimes people turn around while they're playing just for, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever they're doing. Maybe just look at each other. Maybe it's just the vibe they're putting out there too. You know what I mean? You got to have that stage presence and that performance, and like interacting with your bandmates, I think is super, super important when you're doing that kind of stuff. So you're a little bit more improvisational now than you'd like to be.
Right now, the Dirty Leaf Band is pretty improvisational, especially considering the lineup fluctuating with the horns and different guitar players. Like when I reformed it in stuff at PACA in May of, I believe, 22, April, May of 22, after I met Dave at a Smilo show at BT with the Probables and the weeks leading up to that. That's kind of the connect there.
Cool.
Because I knew everybody else in the band, but I didn't know Dave. And I knew he had a studio. Awesome. Yeah, he's a great mind and musician and great friend. And we just celebrated his birthday in New York City.
Woohoo! That sounds dope. I think I saw pictures of that. He's dope. It's
pretty improvisatory right now.
But do you like to hammer it down a little bit more and get a little bit more fluid or connected for the songs?
Yes and no. I mean, my favorite live band in the world right now is Tedeschi Trucks Band. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them.
Sure.
They're my favorite band. I've seen Dead and Company 20 times. I've seen Tedeschi Trucks Band probably 10 plus, and I've done like 2-night runs multiple times.
Hell yeah!
I love her voice.
Yeah, she's incredible. I mean, she was a solo artist in her own way. Went to Berkeley and was great. Is a great songwriter and was accomplished. And I mean, after Stevie Ray Vaughan died, Double Trouble was backing her for a stretch. I mean, that's a credit in itself. And she was opening for the Allman Brothers when she met Derek. I can go on a diatribe about them, but they're the best live band in the world, and he does a much better and concise version because they have a 12-piece that plays 150 shows
together
a year.
All the time.
Yeah,
right. Well, when I was doing my research and stuff, it didn't really sound. I mean, I could definitely tell it was improvisational and jammy and stuff like that. But there's a certain breaking point for me when it comes to jam bands when they're like too jammy.
Couldn't agree more. I don't like a lot of them. I like them, and I like the Dead and Allman Brothers. The Allman Brothers have one of the best American singers, Greg Allman, and they play. I mean, it's just not that spacey. At the end of the day, if it gets too far from like a campfire sort of like la da da da, if it's not doing that much for me, really, I'm kind of. Yeah. I mean, I'm into funk music too.
Hell yeah.
I like jazz to a degree. I mean, this is just a whole other music conversation, but if it's like so free, it's like, well, I mean, what are we doing?
Right. No, I agree. You need like some sort of foundation or some songs.
Of like, I'm a songs guy.
Yeah.
I like this group Acoustic Hookah that I'm opening for on Friday. They have great songs that encompasses like the great modern jam band that encompasses like almost like bluegrassy vibes.
Yeah.
Like
Funkabilly.
Yeah, but my old bass player Mike Davis, who's in Mykonaut, they're that.
Oh yeah, they're super cool.
Yeah, that's Sage Byam, my friend who's the singer, Josh Maurus. We played music together in a house in Meadville for years, like before Dirty Leaf was formed, and that was sort of me trying to do something in the more Dead, Dylan, like reggae-ish stuff. And they were just playing heavier music, which wasn't a problem.
Their acoustic set is probably, I can say this about so many of the acoustic sets that we did in the Treehouse, but theirs was really cool.
Sage is a super talented, artistic guy, and I'm glad he has a good outlet for that, and something that is good for him. I'm loving to see that that's good for them, and they've got good feedback. I saw with with their Spotify streams and stuff, the like streaming overseas and stuff. They recorded at that super cool studio in Pittsburgh, which I'm considering.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm on the brink.
Not going tomorrow.
I'm not going tomorrow, but I'm like, in terms of like, yeah, it's 80 an hour, but in terms of a place that would probably be pretty good, that'd be it. But
yeah, and I think that I've been listening to Acoustic Hookah for a long time. They've played at like Chafee's and a bunch of different places around here for as long as I can remember.
And Smilo really likes them. I heard that on one of your guys' podcasts,
yeah, for
him
sure.
talking about it.
Yeah, and I feel like they're like right on the cusp of things, because they are like so. Like, I think that it also reaches like a point where the musicians are just so fucking talented that they just like musically can jam together and be completely improvisational and just sound still like completely cohesive and together and make like songs. You know what I mean? And they switch instruments and they do all this other stuff. But there's a certain point where like relying on that talent to create good music solely versus having some sort of a game plan or some sort of a mindset or some sort of structure to fall back on really leads the band in a negative way for me. And there's people that love that shit, but that's just my experience.
Well, as a person that loves that shit, well, I mean, there's like the backdrop of, at least for the good jam bands, like the structure is they know most of the time which song they're going into next, so they know how to explore like the space in between the concrete structures. And that is definitely something that not everybody nails, but if you got a band where like the musicians are competent enough and they have like enough of a feel for each other that they can play off of each other while still being able to like go back where they need to, I think it's great. Like I really enjoy a lot of bands that do that. I think it's very cool.
So much of that thing for me actually translates to what happens with comedy in a way where it's the same way where like a comedy special, then they say this, right? It can literally, the cap is 70% probably for what it's like to be there, right? So I feel like for a lot of these jam bands, it's like it's not you got to be there, man, but it's like it really
helps.
Yeah, I mean, some people are just
I feel that way.
You can just go down this rabbit hole with like, I mean, especially with jam bands and like the substances and people being, going on for X amount of time and all that.
Right.
Well, that's a whole different subject for another time.
Sure.
But like if someone like drops some acid or mushrooms, then like you could pretty much do anything to entertain them, you know.
And I feel the same way with metal a lot of the times. Like a lot of people don't get like or listen to metal or enjoy metal, and then they go to a live show and they feel the energy and the music and all that shit, and they're like, oh, okay, I understand this now. You know what I mean? I may not like it, but I get the allure or the fascination with this type of music.
Music can do so many things.
Right.
It does so many things. It's like the vibes too. Like what depending on the type of show that I'm going to. Like I have to be in a certain mindset almost. Like I haven't been to a metal show in a very long time. I'm not a big metal person, but like if I'm at a metal show, I know it's going to be like very amped up most of the time when I go to like watch my jam bands, because I'm an old man now and I need to sit down in the grass every once in a while. I'm like, I can just like kind of chill and sway and kind of like spin around, and that's the vibe. And you got to bring a different mindset to different type of music.
I would say, I mean, jam bands is a thing, and it's a sphere, and I am involved in it. But like in terms of what my attention is on, I try to listen to what I consider to be like fundamental, not just American, but primarily American roots music. So like I'm all the way to bluegrass, American, all that, like Alan Lomax recording, people in like June Carter Cash's great grandmother, the Carter family, and the stuff in Memphis. You guys familiar with Jack White's? Is it the American Epic? No,
I'm not sure about
Jack
that.
White has a PBS feature that covers the old recording equipment that they used to like document American Hill People that was not Hill People, but like people.
Yeah.
And I forget there's a few other characters in this, but I'm to name other characters in this, like, you know, Robert Johnson, the blues guy, all this. Like, I'm super concerned with, like, I mean, in what I consider to be a not bad nerdy sense, because I can report at just to some of it anyway.
No, I totally feel you. And one of the bands that always stands out to me when I think about like the difference in equipment is like the Black Keys first album. Like it sounds like recording wise is not fucking incredible. You know what I mean? You can hear him peaking in multiple times. The distortion or the quality is not like complete. It's definitely not like true studio quality, but that's like part of the allure or the effect of what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Is having those imperfections.
And I'm gonna drop just because I love it so much. It's very similar to like the Velvet Underground and Nico. Like that album is just like so raw. I
should get into them more because they're like I know that they're in a good place in terms of stylistically where I would enjoy them. I know they would have some stuff that would be probably raunchy or rub me wrong, but I should get more familiar with their catalog.
Yeah,
and I will after this conversation.
Hell yeah,
awesome.
We used to play Oh Sweet Nothing.
Yeah,
and I know they've got a few other good songs. Sweet Jane, right? There's not just Lou Reed.
No, that's Velvet Underground.
Right. Yeah. Somebody else I know has played that in the jam band scene. I like that. I like that tune. The Black Crowes play that tune too.
Right.
It's pretty easy. It's like 3 chords. It's an easy big band jam song.
There's a lot going on over there, and I like these through. It seems like through jam band and through jamming in general, like so many different genres kind of commingle and mix. Especially lately, like the last time when we went to Heron a couple years ago, and there was like they had like a really cool like bluegrass folk band that had a little bit of electronic jamminess to them, and I just really appreciated it. You know what I mean? They'd play different tracks and stuff like that, or you know, hit the pedal and make some distortion, have some big weird like spun out sounding music, almost more like ambient style music, or like really chill like low trance like techno sections or like interludes and stuff like that. And I always really like that kind of stuff when bands are able to show their ability to be diverse as far as like what they're musically creating. You know what I mean? I don't want, as much as I appreciate the same shit all the time, I think there's a lot of room for like random interludes. Like that's one of the things I really like about metal too, is like every now and then they'll have like this really chill jazz piece thrown somewhere in the middle or somewhere at the end of the album. It's got that little secret mix, and just to like personify their talent and show that like, hey, we're not just good at making whatever kind of music. We're good at making fucking music, whatever that music may be. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I think like it just made me think of it just because you talked about being an athlete. It makes me almost feel like if you were a fan of a football team and they're extreme, you put the defense in there, so that kind of like muddles it a little bit. But like if they were extremely good, but they just ran the ball up the middle, like they run the ball up the middle every time, but like that's all they ever do and they're really good at it, like you would get bored watching them.
Right.
And same kind of thing with music. Like even if a band has a certain style, like you got to mix it up just a little bit, you know, as time goes on, just to, you know, keep the interest going. You don't want to, I mean, I feel like as a fan, I don't want to hear like every single song that's ever made sounds pretty much exactly the same.
Right. And I think that goes back like very much same topic and very good analogy, but I would break it down a step further and even say that like the athletes themselves, like yeah, you might be a pro football player, but I bet you can, like the ones that are able to like play different positions or fill in at different spots, or maybe this guy played track and now he's playing football in the NFL, or like his main thing was or like Patrick Mahomes, you know what I mean? Like wanted, almost drafted for baseball, almost drafted for football. Like they excel to, they're not just good at like a sport, they're good at being a fucking athlete, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like the same kind of idea that I'm trying to put out with the musicians that I really respect and admire.
That's one thing I'll say about my group anyways, at least, that I'm glad I say American roots rock because it's like you could say it's kind of bluesy, but I'm not trying to play the blues, and it's not the blues. It's not the blues. Like, I mean, it's like, as far as I'm concerned, it's like I'm me, and it's 2023. I've like a car payment in terms of like you can call it whatever, but like the blues is something that is like, I don't know. I don't want to get too specific here, but for example, anyway, like we don't just play like blues forms. What you would say musically, we don't. I do that a little bit. Mm-hmm. I like doing that, and I have my own interpretation of that because I love, like I said, I love the Dusty Trucks Band, and in terms of like Grateful Dead, like Pigpen, all those songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys have like a little bit of reggae sound too.
Yeah, I'm definitely big influenced by. I went with a lot of my friends from that period after high school. I would say like my friend Henry Coyle and some of our friends from high school. We went to Nelson Ledges, and it was really I think it was a Bad Fish probably in 2015, and seeing Tropodelic and seeing what they could do to a crowd. And my friends Wanyama from Cleveland. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I'm not sure.
Check their albums on Spotify. It's WANYAMA, Wanyama. They're great. They have they're like more, I would say like more funkier, jazzier from Cleveland. They're great too. Saw them at Nelson Ledges, a group called Vibe and Direct.
Yep, heard of them.
So yeah, like and this is where I would to say the same thing about the blues. And in terms of reggae, like Dirty Leaf is not a reggae band with like one drops. And I would say even blues and reggae for me, aside from the music itself, so much of it is content, right? It's like if you're, I mean, like I love Bob Marley and I love like the message, and I am a huge fan. I love lots of the songs. And like to me, like reggae music, a lot of it is even like the Rastafarian part of it.
Sure.
Like I don't listen to a lot of like what people would say is like dub. You know Brandon Hardesty from Bumpin' Uglies. Mm-hmm. You've heard him say like he doesn't listen to roots reggae at all. He listens to dub.
Right.
And I'm like lots of like modern like stuff that's almost like hip hop and like other things that I'll probably get more familiar with in time.
Right.
But like what I think of as reggae is like Bob Marley and like the Peter Tosh stuff. Like we play in my Grateful groups, we play Stop That Train and the Jerry stuff that Jerry loved in the JGB, like the Bob Marley songs and some other reggae stuff.
Right.
So yeah, there's some reggae rock in Dirty Leaf too. I say like American roots rock, which is like something like bluesy reggae rock, but it's like it's not. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying Ja or like a lot of bands that I like even like will break into some tropes of that is still not terrible that I don't like, but I just find a lot of it to be inauthentic.
Yeah. And
I don't try to cast judgment in this. I just try to have so much of it is about vision, I guess, just in terms of like I like that. I just try to be specific even with what I take in and what I don't know with what I call what.
Sure.
Really? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like it's you can't be an authentic artist and be disingenuous at the same point to what you are, like. So I get what you're saying.
Right. You don't want to make something that's against what you're trying. That's not what you're trying to do. You know what I mean?
I was just listening to, there's this Geddy Lee clip that's been going around too, but him talking about where artistry and originality is where your influences kind of melt away. And I'd like to think the Dirty Leaf is some drop, some hookah, some blues, some reggae, some funk. I mean, I like funk music a lot, like the Meters. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Meters.
Negative. I jam out to Jamiroquai all the time, though.
Jamiroquai is great. In terms of like, what I would say foundations of funk, like the Meters are from New Orleans and we're putting out records in like the early 70s. It's a crime that they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. James Brown, of course. Lettuce, you familiar with the modern group Lettuce? Mm-hmm. Benny, the trumpet player, he's an Italian guy, and he's like, funk is James Brown, the Meters, Sly and the Family Stone or something like that. I think that's pretty much true. And then there's some other stuff on there. Especially with the horns, I've been listening to a lot of Tower of Power, trying to think of incorporating stuff like that with my music and trying to write more.
Yeah.
Also,
did you see Big Blitz the other day?
I did not. I'm trying to think what was going on. That was a Friday night, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
What was the date?
I don't know.
I think I was gigging elsewhere.
It doesn't matter, man.
It was 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
I just were like, we're talking about all these horns and stuff right now, and I think that
They're great.
Oh, dude, I love it when people get innovative and creative and kind of like them and a couple other bands that are like throwing these saxes on top of really cool drum and bass lines is just super, super cool and innovative to me, and I really appreciate it because it's got that funk, dude, and that's what the sax brings to me, and the heavy bass and the drums and all that shit. It brings that funk and it makes me want to fucking dance, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely super strong, and it's cool that, I don't know, I'm glad that there's just all the avenues that are available for people to do cool shit like that and it to take off. I know they just Big Blitz, I think they just played before Hookah on the day after Thanksgiving at the House of Blues.
Right.
Hope to play there one day.
Yeah, dude. No worries, dude. Yeah, playing
just
playing
water on the floor.
It's
I'll just
fine,
say
dude.
it is. I mean,
the show must go on, dude.
The show must go on.
We'll take care of that later.
I have a Grateful Dead story that's related to that. Me and my friend Henry Coyle, which related to Spilling. We did a 2-night run, and we went from, I think, where I'm from, Meadville, to Detroit for the first night. Let's just say we had a rough first night in Detroit. Had a good show, everything. It was a first night of the trip. It was rough. We get to the Columbus, come back down to Columbus the next day, and Henry's mom makes the world's best chocolate chip cookies, which were my introduction to the munchies. And his record collection was what got me into music in that sort of time period there. His dad plays harmonica and played a lot of blues in Pittsburgh. But the second night of the Grateful Dead run, we were like, all right, after the show, we should we'll be chilling and the weekend will be over. We should get some milk so that we can eat cookies and milk in the hotel room for
Hell yeah.
eat your mom's cookies. And he was monkeying with the hotel fridge before we went to the show. And we were like, oh, cool. We went to Giant Eagle in Columbus and got like this organic thing of milk that was in like a glass bottle that was like $8 or something.
Hell yeah.
And he broke the hotel fridge and it froze and exploded. So when we came back from the hotel, there was shattered glass in the fridge and the whole thing was wet, but we couldn't cry because it was
no crying over spilled milk.
No. we were just like, all right, it's all right, man. And seriously, I had a bad trip, weird night, the first night, basically just after the show, basically. And it was just a funny weekend. It's one of those things where it's important to just not dwell on a weird, bad night and just be thankful that, plenty of people have nights that go weird and wrong, and I mean things go horribly wrong.
Hell yeah.
It happens every day. Not to go grim, but like that's been, in terms of the year I've had, and some, you never know what's around the corner. So
yeah,
like,
dude,
to get through something like that, and anyway,
you guys lost another bass player, right?
We lost a drummer. Spades lost our bass player Kurt in 2022, and then we just lost our friend George in this past fall in September, right after Arts and Drafts.
Right.
Spades is back on the mend though. We got Lizzie and things are rolling. We just added Kevin, like I said, from Royak. But
yeah, because I remember when Shelby and Matt came down, it wasn't too long after you lost the bass player, and then this fall I was like, holy fuck, not again, these poor guys.
Yeah, it's like I was saying when I walked in here, I try to be thankful. These days I try to not let the small shit affect my mood. Like as I was saying with having fun, as some of us would say, I have uneven Gemini temperament mostly.
Oh, no,
I think
dude.
I don't think I said more than 5 words when we were recording this treehouse thing up here. Also in Spades, I'm consciously on the side.
Sure.
So it's like I'm kind of overdo it.
Yeah.
I'm bad at being like, oh, well, you want me to do this? Well, I'm going to do the extreme version of this. And
Just Geminis, dude.
I don't know how much I believe into it, but it fits me anyway. So it's been a thing.
I'm a Taurus, but I don't know what people tell me that It's an earth sign. That's about all I know.
Yeah, you're grounding and chill as a Taurus, but stubborn. Bull. Gemini, I had an ex who was a Gemini, and she was definitely not incredibly emotionally stable. And
that's what I'm trying to be, is emotionally stable. I like to think of, I listen to like Alan Watts and shit like that. I try to like be cool and collected, and I need to fucking breathe before I speak. And
a lot of times,
a lot more.
Right,
and
for sure.
Have like as a bandmate, for real. As someone, the early thing is I was in a thing with my friends, and then we had disagreements or that or whatever, and I make the shots or whatever, and that's fine. I'm thankful that I've somehow wound up with people who are down with my ideas and throw in, or, with their time and energy or whatever.
Sure.
But that's a totally separate skill from being in a basement with people and collaborating, especially with spades with my girlfriend. That's a treacherous thing, and it's especially in itself. So I'm just trying to navigate and not let the small shit affect me.
It's hard to be human, and it's hard to interact with other humans.
And what that means too, in terms of like what's like the life we live right now, where it's like, to be totally on top of it, you need insurance. You need to have a plan for your bills months from now.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you're like going to wind up on the street, where like most common people would like degrade those people who are just like,
they're having a hard time.
Yeah, that's like a lot to maintain. I'm thankful. I'm super thankful that like I come from, my parents split up, but I come from two stable families who in that divorce were able to, my parents didn't have to go to court and like fight it all out. It's just like, my family's pretty local. We just like stayed at other people's houses. It wasn't that like, I've lived a charmed life for considering lots of people. I think about that when I go to Dead shows. I think about that. I tell you that for goddamn sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you see it all the time, and it's really like one bad move, really is all that separates, us from living out on the streets. You know what I mean? One bad move or a series of bad coincidences or bad things that are out of our control,
and not having people in your corner.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
and you got to keep those people in your corner too. That's the hard part. Is like people can get in your corner, but you got to maintain those relationships and nourish those relationships, and keep those people in your corner, because the people, as we get older and as we spend more time around people and those relationships continue, I think the goal is to keep them stronger. I don't want temporary friendships and temporary relationships anymore. You know what I mean? I look at things a lot more long term than when I was 20, where I didn't give a shit, and I'm like leaving Erie, I'm leaving all my friends, I'm leaving my family, I'm leaving everybody behind. I'm gonna start all this new shit, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna leave all those people behind that were in Pittsburgh or wherever, and then I'm going over here, and then I'm leaving those people behind, and I take so much more peace and gratitude and happiness in my long-term relationships than I think I ever did in any of those short-term temporary relationships. You know what I mean? So those are a lot more important to me. So I have to make sure that I treat them with the respect and the kindness and the compassion that they need. And there's this old saying that like this little tirade is making me think more about people who are like, oh, I'm just brutally honest. I'm brutally honest. That's me. That's who I am. Whatever. And it's not that you're brutally honest. It's that you're a fucking asshole and you can't speak your mind with a little bit of compassion.
What's the worst is when someone's saying that on their own page and they're like, people are just soft. I'm just
brutally honest. I'm just honest. I'm completely honest.
You're just in your little echo box shouting that at the mountain so that it comes right back at you.
It's like it's analogous to when someone's like, not to be offensive, but, and then they just say like the worst shit you've ever heard in real life, Yeah, life's just like, that's part of the being grateful for me though, is just like life is just full of like two sides to coins, double-edged swords, like you need your space from people, and it's tough nowadays because you got these things that just like constantly follow you everywhere. But at the same time, if you get in spots where you're isolated or where you get in spots where you have to go somewhere else, like it's so much easier in this world that we live in today than in, you know, generations past to stay connected to those people. Like just because you're physically removed from a spot where certain people are doesn't mean you have to be separated from them now. Life's definitely a motherfucker, but it's also a beautiful thing, and like that's just like the mindset on a day-to-day basis for me. And some days are easier than others, just like for anyone else, but like more days than not, I'm like, you know, there's an old dude that comes into my work all the time. Hey, how you doing? First thing he always says, every day's a gift. You know, if you like wake up, every day's a gift. That's like a great way to start your day.
Warren Zevon was the last time on the Letterman show. Was my favorite. I think of it all the time. Enjoy every sandwich.
Yeah.
Knew he was dying of cancer. He was partied a good portion of his life away. Just cut his time way hard in a different time. And seriously,
yeah,
I'm just happy to sit down and have dinner with the ones that I love, and to have the chance to come here to communicate my thing that I'm on,
your journey, dude.
Yeah, I guess where I'm at, just trying to do all these different things that basically just as a musician trying to turn it into the other side of it, and doing all the things. It's silly to think like hyper specialized. I'm trying to like do all of it. You guys know Mark Rebier? He's the Robe internet guy. He's on. You know what I'm
not familiar.
He's super popular on the internet, especially during COVID. He's like in a robe in a hotel somewhere doing these like loop videos, like doing the funk things. It's
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
He's got glasses.
He sings that song about fucking flamingos and eating your eyeballs.
Absolutely.
And nighttime shit.
Okay,
That's his new one.
I know
I'm knowing that shit.
Yeah, that guy. So he's got this. There's this Boss tabletop looper that he does with like MIDI bass and all that stuff, and I'm trying to do like on the not the low key, but I'm trying to do like some sort of like instrumental loop stuff like that in my free time at some point as I get my new situation set up with this move with where all our bands are rehearsing right now in Shelby's basement, and getting all that stuff situated and just doing all the different projects. Like I said, I have my own group, which is now like a sort of
super group.
Well,
I'm gonna keep calling it.
George Harrison, who? No, I'm just kidding. Awesome super group. We're rolling with it.
What did you guys think of that new Beatles tune?
I don't know.
I'm diverting.
Have you?
Yeah, that's cool.
This is another.
My bad.
This is another band that I love. Have you seen the music video?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that the song, like, yeah, it's awesome to the extent that, like, we never thought we'd get another one. If you compare it to the rest of the Beatles catalog, it's definitely not on that level. But the music video, top notch.
I think that's the right take, is that it's cool to have the nugget, and it's like you don't, I mean, this is another thing, I was thinking about this earlier in the conversation too. It's just like, you know, there's just people who are jumping at the chance to crush it in the comment section, and it's just like, saying just be happy with it is never a great answer either, but it's also like, they did it. They did a thing. It's like, don't be mad when the band does another tour after the thing. It's, I don't know.
It's like finding the gratitude, and some people are going to be unhappy about everything, no matter what the fuck it is, whether it's the best thing on planet Earth or whatever, or you know, something that's mediocre or something that's, you know, and that's the way the internet works. I think is just people dying to degrade one another over their thoughts and opinions.
And then when the day comes, like, and nobody wants to see it, just with any life on it. Well, maybe not any life. There's some pretty awful people out there. But in general, you know, they bitch about it now, maybe that it sucks or this isn't great, whatever. But you know what? Ringo Starr's like 83. Paul McCartney's like, what, 80, 82? Like, these guys aren't going to be around. Like,
no, I'd like to see them. That's one of the reasons I'm so, like, would see Dead and Company every show I could.
Bobby Weir.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like that's what I'm saying. They're like, oh, this song isn't that great, you know, or whatever. But like, these guys aren't going to be around much longer. And then when they die, a lot of those people are probably going to be looking back at this song and being like, oh, thank God they gave us this one last thing, you know.
It's a cool nugget.
Right.
I'm thankful for music. For me with music, I really just want like most of the time I just want it to be like easygoing, like a warm hug. I just want like a nice kind of almost like a violin-y, easy vibe. I like I said, I like funk and stuff too, but I'm pretty soft, I would say. I mean, I could listen to more ballads straight probably than most people.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what do I like that is more, I mean, you guys know Humphreys McGee?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's that is like gut-busting, incredible live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for sure.
In terms of like the jam bands that like take some, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
That's not like some people like noodling over some changes. That is like syncopated. I mean, Hookah does some cool shit like that too that is progressive. Mm-hmm. Hookah doesn't just play like bluegrass forms and like blues. They play like stuff that is like guitar parts coordinated, like working against each other, and especially with music a lot of it is tension. So much of it with the Dead is tension, right? Like the
waiting for the next thing.
Yeah.
Or the next step or the next phase or transition.
And when something isn't particularly sweet.
Right. No, I was just going to say, fun fact, and we won't get into this, I'm thinking on the air, but maybe we'll tell you afterwards. But fun fact, Tony and I actually went to an Humphrey McGee show a few years back in Cleveland.
I almost had to fight somebody.
And Tony brought the medal to the Humphrey McGee show. It wasn't his fault, but
wasn't just him that brought it, by the way.
Right. It wasn't just him, but in a sea of peaceful people.
I was the only one.
He was the only
one. This other guy, he was just... It wasn't my fault.
There was pushback, and the pushback came from our metal aficionado. He's like,
It was really funny, actually, because like then this other metal dude with like a giant beard and shit just grabbed this other guy by his throat because he was causing problems with like fucking everybody around there.
The worst.
Just like pushes him out and pushes him away into like back into the back of the mob because everybody's like, we were right up front and everybody's crammed fucking elbow to elbow and bumping into each other, and this dude was just fucking wasted and slamming into everybody and stepping all over everybody, and then this giant fucking metal dude with a huge beard was like, like choked him and pushed him out, like choke slammed him straight like the Undertaker, about to slam him all the way to hell.
You said Cleveland?
Yeah.
Cleveland, yeah.
The Agora?
No, it was actually at the...
it was at a casino.
It was at the theater at Northfield Park, the theater inside the casino.
Okay. I've heard of them doing shows there.
It was really cool. I mean, it was a great show. It was much better once that dude got like choked out of the circle and thrown away.
Oh yeah, then we all just like, but it was so cool.
Everybody like cheered for the dude too. They're like, "Fuck yeah!"
And we've never saw. I don't know about you, but I'm assuming both of us have never seen the people around us again. But it was like a bonding experience because everyone that was in that area, like the rest of the show, we were like super homies and like, yeah, that asshole. You know,
we're all friends now.
Sweet relief. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yes,
it's good, dude.
They're great. I have a cool Humphrey story. I saw them at one of the lock-ins. They don't do lock-in festivals anymore. When I think it was Lock-In 18.
That's the one that Dave used to try to get me to go to all the time. I don't like big festivals as much anymore now that I'm older. I don't like camping nuts to butts.
Lock-In was sweet.
They have the revolving stage, which is cool. So the next band will just literally set up behind it, and somehow they can just not have... I mean, I set up like one band a week, and I'm got cords dangling over shit, and they can have a revolving stage. It was great. I saw Humphreys, and it was the first night of the festival. They were paired back to back with Lettuce, so like from 6 to 10, actually, they flipped it twice. So like they alternated for like 1, 1, 1, 1, and then in between set 3 and 4, Humphreys was playing or Lettuce was playing. I can't remember which one, but they turned it. And they stopped sideways, and they both played the same tune.
Hell yeah.
Neither of them facing the crowd. Facing sideways. They were just collectively all playing at once.
It's fucking cool.
Humphreys and Lettuce is great.
I love that shit, dude. There's so many good experiences at going and seeing live shows, and there's such a tremendous amount of talent here in Erie. So everybody go out, see some bands, see Logan B and Dirty Leaf, see all of his other bands that he's involved in, check everybody out. It's going to be a good time. And where can they find your stuff at?
On Facebook and on Instagram, you can definitely find Logan B and Dirty Leaf. Some of it'll be, the tag might be Dirty Leaf Band, but...
You're on the Pack of YouTube, too.
Yeah, that's an older lineup of the band. We have check out the Facebook and Instagram page. We could definitely use likes on those. We don't have much on streaming platforms right now.
You just got to see them live. Go to the fucking show, people. I was
going to say at this point, in terms of the audience of this show, like for upcoming dates for my own group, we're going to be at Altered State on December 30th. We're also going to be at the 1020 Collective on January 19th. That's what This American Song is, one of my favorite Erie bands.
Mm-hmm.
I think another night in there. I should just.
It's all right. Follow them on the Facebook.
Yeah, that's
follow them on the Facebook. Yeah, find all the dates.
Just follow those pages. I'm also play keyboards and spades. I play guitar in a group called Northbound Soul, which is based out of Fairview. I also play keyboards with Matt Craze. Follow Matt Craze and support his music and his direction. It's been a good time working with him.
Yeah,
he's going into the studio. 2024 should be good for me. Thanks for having me on the show. It's
hell yeah.
Cool group of my friends have been on it.
Yeah, thank you for coming, dude. We had a great time. It was fun kicking it.
It was a pleasure
Good
listening.
to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, especially like I said, I'm not especially chatty in lots of rooms. I mean, it's especially if there's even just like if there's background music going on or in lots of the time, I'm pretty good at keeping to myself, and I don't mind that either. So, but I
feel you.
Jump at the chance to talk about music, especially the local scene, and I don't mind talking about my path. It's been a good time. 2023 was good for me, and I hope things just keep moving upward with that. I just want to get more likes and following on my own page, and there's going to be that'll always be flexible, so we'll be hopefully going to the regional area in 2024 and beyond with even just like a small group of the four of us to make a gig with no horns, and we'll break out the horns for a big section. We have lots of original music. I love play some covers too, some Bob Dylan, some reggae, some stuff, a few Dead covers and stuff like that. I'm just thankful to be breathing really, and having a chance to meet and talk with you guys today, and
hell yeah,
be social in general. John Baptiste from formerly from the Stay Human Band, talks a lot about social music, and I just don't want to isolate. And there's too many, I don't know. There's lots of good conversations to be had, and there's friends and lots of friends and foes out there. I think more friends than foes can be had, but I don't know.
There's always resistance out there.
Yeah, just do it. Just every day, just trying to be positive in when I interact with people.
Hell yeah.
I know you're about that, and about people taking care of themselves, and I know I appreciate what you're about. Your whole vibe and supporting the local arts in that.
Hell yeah.
Dave, it was nice to meet you. I'm sure we'll cross paths again. It's good to be. I'm glad I was able to be more social in a setting like this, because
you did great, dude.
I just did have an overlaying sense after being here the last time. It's not lost on me that I'm off in the corner, not being particularly chatty. It's a lot of the times if I'm just having a certain day, feeling a certain way, I just don't feel like talking that much. And but that of course wouldn't have gone like that if I knew you like I did today.
No doubt.
That's sort of the
the blessing.
That's the difference, I suppose, is the being familiar. I'm one of those where it's like, if I'm not familiar with you, I'm kind of, people get the wrong impression about me a lot. I think.
Yeah, me too, dude. No, I feel it. I can be a loner and an isolator as well, dude. But you did great today.
Shout out to Hookah, the loner vibe.
Hell yeah.
That's their biggest hit, that loner song. That's great. We play that song. It's a good tune.
No doubt.
Thank you again for having me.
Thank you.
Peace out.
Thank you. Peace out, everybody. We love you.
Shout
Thanks
out to
for
my friends on the
sharing,
podcast,
following, all that stuff. Thanks to our Patreon people, our sponsors, everybody. Y'all have an excellent evening. Peace out.
Happy holidays.
Check everything out local.
Do it.
Peace.
Peace out.